I was alive. But on paper, I was already used.
I found out my name was being used before I realized I was being erased. It didn't happen all at once. Things like that never do. It started with a letter that wasn't meant for me. The envelope had my name on it, my full name, correct spelling, correct address. But the tone inside was wrong. Too cold, too official, final notice. I read it slowly, sitting at the small kitchen table where I had eaten alone for years. Outstanding balance, missed payments, legal follow-up if unresolved. I smiled, not because it was funny, because it was impossible. I had no debts. I paid everything in cash, always had. Rent, utilities, groceries, old habits from a life where trust was expensive. I assumed it was a mistake. Old people are expected to assume that. A week later, another letter arrived. Different company, same name, mine. This time it mentioned a loan. I had never taken a loan in my life. I folded the letter neatly and placed it beside the first one. Still, I said nothing. People think silence means ignorance. Sometimes it means inventory. Then came the call, a young man's voice. Polite, fast. Trained, Mrs., we're calling regarding your recent application. I didn't apply for anything, I said. There was a pause. Our records show. Your records are wrong, I replied calmly. Another pause, then typing. I see activity under your identification number. That was the moment I understood. They hadn't taken my money, they had taken my name. I ended the call politely and sat very still. I thought about my family, about who knew my full details, my documents, my habits. Trust narrows the list quickly. That night, I took out the old box from under my bed. Inside were copies of everything people assume old women don't keep. Birth certificate, identification numbers, signatures, dates. I spread them out like evidence. Nothing was missing, which meant something else was. My identity hadn't been stolen from me. It had been borrowed by someone who expected me not to notice until it was too late. The next morning, I went to the bank, not to complain, to observe. I watched how the clerk's expression changed when she pulled up my profile. Confusion, then concern. Mrs. You, she said carefully, there's been activity. I nodded. I know, I said. I'm here to learn who was confident enough to pretend to be me. She looked up sharply. That was when I saw it, fear not for me. For whoever had assumed an old woman wouldn't fight back. I walked home slowly that day, not angry, focused, because whoever used my name had done one thing wrong. They assumed I would try to prove my innocence. Instead, I decided to study their guilt. And that was the moment the story changed direction. The bank did not give me names. They never do. They give procedures, policies, and apologies, all carefully designed to slow people down. That works on those who panic. I didn't. I asked for copies, not originals, not explanations, just copies. Transaction summaries, signature logs, time stamps. The clerk hesitated, then printed what she was allowed to print. I thanked her and left without another word. On the walk home, I didn't read anything. Old women know better than to examine evidence in public. At home, I laid everything out on the table. The signatures were close to mine, too close to be coincidence, too careful to be random. Whoever signed for me had practiced, but practice always leaves habits. The angle of the last letter, the pressure on the first stroke. The way the pen lifted too late. I had signed my name thousands of times in my life. I recognized what was not mine. Then I noticed the dates. Every transaction happened on a Tuesday or a Thursday. That mattered, because those were the only days my nephew visited. He said it was to help with groceries. He always arrived at the same time, stayed just long enough to be useful, never stayed for tea. Reliable people are often overlooked. I remembered how he insisted on organizing my papers. Just in case, he had said. Just in case of what? I checked the access logs again. Every signature was made in person. Every identification check passed. That meant whoever signed for me didn't look nervous. They belonged there. I thought about who would feel that comfortable standing in my place. Family doesn't fear resemblance. I called my nephew that evening, casual, warm. I found some old papers, I said. Do you remember where I keep my ID copies? He answered too quickly. In the blue folder, he said. Top drawer. I smiled. He remembered better than I did. After the call, I opened the blue folder. It was empty. That night, I didn't sleep much. Not because I was afraid, because patterns were forming. The next morning, I went somewhere no one thinks to hide guilt, a notary office. I asked to see records of documents signed under my name. The clerk scanned the screen and frowned. These were processed efficiently, she said. Efficiency, I replied, usually means familiarity. She didn't understand, but I did. I walked home knowing two things for certain. Someone close to me was borrowing my identity, and they believed paperwork would protect them. They were wrong, because paperwork is only powerful when no one reads it carefully, and I was about to read everything. I didn't confront him. Confrontation gives liars time to prepare. Instead, I listened. People who steal identities rarely steal silence. They talk. They brag in small ways. They complain. They slip. At the next family gathering, I watched my nephew the way you watch a clock that is 5 minutes fast. Not to accuse it, to learn its rhythm. He spoke about work, about traffic, about how busy life had become. Always busy, always moving. Busy people love alibis. At one point, he laughed and said, I barely have time to breathe these days. I nodded. Tuesday, Thursday, the same days my name had been signed. I excused myself early and went home. That night, I spread the documents out again. I focused on the timestamps, not the dates, the hours. Late morning, early afternoon. Never evenings, never weekends. People sign documents when offices are open, and when they can step away without being noticed. I remembered something small. My nephew used to complain about his lunch breaks being too short. They watch the clock, he once said, but no one watches where you go. That was the first alibi. The second came from his stories. He often mentioned being out of town on Thursdays. Meetings, deliveries, clients. But paperwork does not care about stories, it cares about presence. I went back to the bank, this time not as a victim, as a curious old woman who didn't understand technology. Can you tell me, I asked gently, whether these transactions were done at the same branch? The clerk checked. Yes, she said, all of them. One branch, I asked. She nodded, the one closest to my nephew's office. I thanked her and left. On my way home, I stopped by the cafe he frequented. I didn't sit near him. I sat near the counter where people talk louder than they realize. He was there, laughing, telling a story about how he had once handled paperwork for someone who didn't understand these things anymore. He didn't use my name. He didn't have to. I wrote nothing down. I didn't need to, because now I understood something important. He had not only stolen my identity, he had built his life around the assumption that I would never check the details, that I would be confused, that I would be embarrassed, that I would let professionals handle it. Instead, I was handling him, quietly. The final confirmation came 2 days later. A small envelope arrived. Inside was a copy of a document I had never signed. But at the bottom, beneath my name, was a line most people overlook. Witnessed by. The witness was his colleague, someone who had vouched for him being elsewhere that day, except the witness had signed on the same Tuesday, at the same hour, in the same building. Alibis collapse when they share handwriting. I folded the paper carefully. The trap was ready. I didn't need to accuse him. I just needed to let his own timelines collide. And in the next act, I would make sure they did, without raising my voice, without calling the police. Just by letting the truth arrive exactly where it was never supposed to meet itself. There is a moment in every quiet investigation when sympathy becomes a liability. I reached mine on a Sunday afternoon. My nephew came by unannounced. He always did that when he felt secure. He brought bread, cheap wine, the performance of care. You look tired, he said, standing in my kitchen as if it still belonged to him. I am, I replied. Reading makes me tired these days. His eyes flicked just for a second toward the stack of papers on the table. Too fast, too familiar. What are those? He asked lightly. Old things, I said. Things with my name on them. He laughed too loudly. You should let me handle that stuff, he said. You don't need stress. There it was, the instinct to control the narrative. I poured tea and waited. Do you remember, I asked casually, the first time you signed something important? He shrugged. Not really. That's strange, I said. I remember mine. He stiffened just slightly. It was a school permission form, I continued. I practiced my name all night. I didn't want to make a mistake. He nodded, not knowing why. People who sign often, I went on, forget how personal it feels to sign for someone else. Silence. He finished his tea quickly. I should go, he said. I didn't stop him, because I had already decided something important. Up until that moment, I had been trying to protect him, not from consequences, from exposure. I told myself it was family, that shame might destroy him. That I didn't want blood on the floor, even figuratively. But as he left, I looked at the empty blue folder again. and I thought of something else. Every time he signed my name, he was not just stealing money, he was rehearsing my absence, erasing me one document at a time. That night, I changed my approach. I didn't gather more evidence. I created opportunity. On Monday morning, I called him. "I received another notice," I said, letting my voice tremble just enough. "They want me to come in and sign again." He paused. "Sign what?" he asked. "I don't understand," I said, "but they said it has to be in person, a beat." "I can come with you," he said quickly. "Help you." Of course he could, I smiled. "Thank you," I said. "Tuesday would be good." Tuesday, the day he thought belonged to him. After the call, I made 3 more calls of my own. Quiet ones, to the bank, to the notary, to a legal aid office. I didn't accuse, I asked for observation, for witnesses, for patience. Then I waited. Because the most effective trap is the one that feels like routine. And on Tuesday morning, my nephew would walk into a building believing he was in control, not knowing that every step he took would be documented, not knowing that I had stopped protecting him. And once protection ends, the truth no longer needs force. It only needs time. Tuesday arrived exactly as I expected. On time, confident, careless. My nephew picked me up early, insisting we leave with plenty of time. He talked the whole drive, about traffic, about work, about how complicated things had become these days. Liars talk to fill space. Truth waits. At the bank, he walked a step ahead of me, already familiar with the doors, the counters, the rhythm of the place. He greeted the clerk by name. That told me everything. We were led into a small office, neutral walls, a desk, 2 chairs, a third one placed slightly to the side for observation. The clerk laid the documents out carefully. "These are the forms requiring signature," she said, looking at me. "We just need confirmation." My nephew leaned forward. "She sometimes needs help understanding," he said smoothly. "I can explain." "I don't need help today," I replied. He turned toward me, surprised. I took the pen. I didn't sign. I held it above the paper and studied the signature already there. My name, written exactly the way it always was when it wasn't me. The angle, the pressure, the hesitation before the final letter. I looked up. "This isn't mine," I said quietly. The room went still. The clerk glanced at the signature, then back at me. "It matches previous records," she said carefully. "Yes," I replied, "that's the problem." I placed my own signature on a blank sheet of paper beside it. Slow, deliberate, 2 names, same letters, different hands. The difference was no longer subtle. The clerk's expression changed. My nephew laughed nervously. "She forgets how she signs sometimes," he said. "That happens at her age." I turned to him for the first time. "No," I said, "this is how I sign when I am present." Silence. The clerk excused herself. She didn't take the documents. She took the copies. When she returned, she was not alone. A supervisor followed her in, then someone from compliance. They asked questions, not accusatory, curious, the most dangerous kind. Who had accompanied me on previous visits? Who presented identification? Who spoke on my behalf? My nephew answered quickly, too quickly. Then the supervisor asked one final question. "Why," she said, "does every transaction under her name coincide with your presence in this building?" His mouth opened, closed. No answer fits a question like that. I stood up slowly. "I believe," I said, "this is where I stop being helpful." I walked out without raising my voice. Behind me, I heard chairs move, papers shuffle, someone say, "We'll need to review this." Outside, the air felt lighter, not because justice had been done, because control had shifted. My nephew did not follow me. He couldn't. For the first time, his alibis were sitting in the same room with his handwriting, and they were comparing notes. The consequences didn't arrive with handcuffs. They never do for people like him. They arrived as delays. A call that didn't come back, an account temporarily under review. A meeting postponed without explanation. I noticed the change before he did. That evening, my nephew didn't call. He usually did on Tuesdays. Always to check in, always to make sure I hadn't been confused by anything that happened. Silence is the first consequence. The next morning, I received a polite letter from the bank. Neutral language, careful wording. Certain activities have been suspended pending verification. Suspended, not reversed, not forgiven. Suspended means frozen in place, unable to move forward or back. I placed the letter with the others. By afternoon, the legal aid office called. The woman on the phone spoke slowly, respectfully. "You were right to wait," she said. "Patterns matter, and now there's enough of one." Enough. That word felt heavier than proof. Later that day, my nephew showed up at my door, not confident this time. His shoulders were tight, his smile thin. "I think there's been a misunderstanding," he said before I invited him in. "There has," I agreed, "but not on my side." He followed me into the kitchen, sat where he always sat, looked at the papers on the table without touching them. "They're asking questions at work," he said, "about where I've been, about time away." I poured tea. "Questions do that," I replied. "They travel." "You could clear this up," he said quickly. "Tell them it was a mistake, that you asked me to help." I looked at him, really looked. "I never asked you to be me," I said. He swallowed. "I was going to fix it," he said, "once things settled." Fixing stolen identities usually means using them until there's nothing left to fix. "I know," I said. He leaned forward. "We're family." "Yes," I replied, "which is why I didn't stop you sooner." That landed. He stood abruptly. "If you push this, it will get worse." "For whom?" I asked. He didn't answer. He left without saying goodbye. That night I slept well. Not because the problem was over, because it was no longer mine to carry alone. By the end of the week, the bank requested a formal statement. The notary office flagged previous documents. His colleague, the witness, was contacted. Alibis began to fold in on themselves, quietly, methodically, just like they had been built. I sat at my table, drinking tea, listening to the familiar sounds of my house. Nothing had changed here, and yet everything had. Because the story was no longer about what he had taken, it was about what he could no longer hide. His mistake arrived disguised as concern. He called me early in the morning, his voice softer than usual, careful, measured. "I've been thinking about you," he said. "All this stress can't be good. Maybe it would help if a doctor evaluated you just to clear things up." There it was. When guilt fails, people reach for authority. "I'm fine," I replied. "I know," he said quickly. "But others might not. You know how people talk. They might think you're confused." Confused, that word is a weapon when aimed at the elderly. He wasn't trying to prove his innocence. He was trying to discredit my clarity. "I've already spoken to someone," he continued. "A specialist. It's nothing serious, just paperwork." Paperwork again. I thanked him and ended the call. Then I wrote one sentence in my notebook. "He is moving the problem from the documents to my mind." That same afternoon, a social worker arrived unannounced. Polite, smiling, clipboard in hand. She asked how I was managing, if I remembered dates, names, appointments. I answered calmly, precisely. When she left, her expression was not concerned. It was puzzled. That evening, my legal aid contact called. "Has anyone suggested an evaluation?" she asked. "Yes," I replied. "That's significant," she said. "It means the financial questions are no longer working." Exactly. I agreed to the evaluation. Not because I needed to, because it would force him to commit to the lie. At the clinic, I spoke clearly, remembered everything, dates, amounts, names. The doctor took notes. At the end, he smiled gently. "You're perfectly competent," he said. "More than most people your age." I asked for a copy of the report. He hesitated, then nodded. When my nephew heard the results, he didn't argue. He panicked. 2 days later, a new claim appeared in my name. A rushed one. Different office. Different process. Sloppy. He was trying to move money before the doors closed completely. That was his second mistake, because desperation leaves fingerprints. And this time, the fingerprints were fresh. I didn't stop the new claim. That surprised everyone. The bank, the legal office. Even the clerk, who now recognized my name before I reached the counter. "Do you want us to block it?" she asked quietly. "No," I said. "I want to see how far he goes." When people are rushed, they reveal their true methods, and my nephew was rushing. He stopped calling, stopped visiting, stopped pretending concern. Instead, I saw movement. A new address appeared on the paperwork, a different branch, a different notary. Too many changes too quickly. Careful criminals don't change patterns under pressure. Amateurs do. I informed the legal aid office, not with urgency, but with curiosity. "I'm interested," I said, "in how mistakes happen when people believe time is running out." They understood. Within 2 days, the claim triggered an internal alert, not because of me, but because of him. Different signatures, different witness. Same handwriting habits. He had gotten sloppy. The witness this time was not a colleague, it was a friend. Friends are dangerous witnesses. They remember things differently when consequences appear. That afternoon, my nephew showed up again. No groceries, no wine, no performance. "You could have stopped this," he said, standing in my doorway. "I did," I replied. "I stopped it from being quiet." He stepped inside without asking. "You're destroying me," he said, "over paperwork." I looked at him. "No," I said, "over choice." He laughed sharply. "You don't even need the money." That was his third mistake. "It was never about the money," I replied. "It was about control." His face changed then, not anger, not fear, recognition. He realized I had never been confused. That night, I received confirmation. The new claim had been flagged as intentional fraud. The witness had withdrawn their statement. The file had been escalated. I poured myself tea and sat at the table. I felt no triumph, only relief, because now the truth was moving faster than he was. And people who steal identities rarely survive speed. He didn't come to the house this time. He asked to meet. Neutral place. Public, safe. A cafe near the courthouse. People choose places like that when they believe walls can listen for them. He was already there when I arrived. Sitting stiffly, coffee untouched. "You've made your point," he said before I sat down. "No," I replied, taking my time. "I've made a record." He looked around, then leaned forward. "I can fix this," he said quietly. "Reverse things, close accounts, make statements disappear." Disappear. People who talk like that still believe in shortcuts. "I can give you names," he continued. "People who helped, people who knew, trade. When the guilty run out of denial, they offer currency." "I'm not interested in names," I said. "I'm interested in truth." He exhaled sharply. "You think they'll go easy on you, they'll tear everything apart." "That's their job," I replied. He lowered his voice. "You don't understand how this works." "I do," I said. "I just don't fear it." He reached into his coat and slid something across the table. A folder. Inside were copies of documents I had never seen. Contracts, loan approvals, signatures that weren't mine but used my identity as leverage. "You weren't the only one," he said. "They encouraged it." They, that word again. "I'll testify," he added quickly. "Against them if you make this stop." I closed the folder. "I'm not here to bargain," I said. His hands shook slightly now. "I did this because I needed it," he said. "You had everything, time, stability. I was drowning." "You drowned yourself," I replied. Silence fell between us. Then he said something he hadn't planned to. "They said you'd never fight back." I stood. "That," I said calmly, "is the only thing you were all wrong about." I left him there, not defeated, exposed. Because the moment someone tries to trade truth, they've already admitted it belongs to someone else. And I had no intention of giving it back. After the cafe, everything moved without my involvement. That is how you know the truth has reached the right place. I stopped receiving questions phrased as favors. I started receiving notifications. Formal ones, stamped ones, the kind that don't ask how you feel. The bank froze accounts connected to my identity. Not temporarily this time. Permanently, pending investigation. The notary office issued a correction notice. Every document my nephew had touched was now marked under review. That mark spreads. It stains everything around it. The legal aid office called once more, only to inform me that I would no longer need their assistance unless I chose to testify. Chose. Choice had finally returned to me. My nephew didn't call again. I heard about him through others. Quietly. The way people pass along things they don't want to own. He had been suspended from work. His colleague had been questioned twice. The friend who witnessed the last claim had hired a lawyer. The system does not move fast, but when it moves, it does not stop for explanations. One afternoon, an investigator visited my home, not to interrogate, to confirm. He asked me to describe once how I had discovered the fraud. I told him simply, "I noticed my name was being used with confidence," I said. "Confidence comes from repetition." He nodded and wrote that down. "Is there anything else you want to add?" he asked. I thought for a moment. "Yes," I said. "Well, please note that I did not accuse anyone until the evidence introduced itself." He looked up. "That matters," he said. "It does, because accusations can be dismissed. Patterns cannot." That evening, I sat alone at my table and removed the last document from the folder. My nephew's handwriting. I didn't tear it up. I didn't burn it. I placed it back where it belonged, in the story. I realized then that I had not taken revenge. I had restored sequence. I put things back in the order they were meant to be in. Name, action, consequence. The phone rang once that night. Unknown number, I let it ring, because whatever was left to say no longer required my voice. The letter arrived without warning. No apology, no explanation, just a notice. Formal charges filed, multiple counts. Identity fraud, forgery, financial misrepresentation. I read it once. Then I folded it neatly and placed it in the same drawer where I kept my birth certificate. Beginnings and endings belong together. My nephew did not contact me after that. Not by phone, not through family, not even through lawyers. People who once believed they were untouchable rarely know how to speak when the ground shifts beneath them. The investigator returned one final time. "This will likely go to court," he said. "Your testimony would matter." I looked at my hands, old hands, steady hands. "I've already testified," I said, "in documents, in patterns, in time." He smiled slightly. "That's true," he admitted, "but the system still likes faces." "I'll come," I said, "if needed. Not for vengeance, for closure." Days passed. The house remained quiet, but it was no longer tense. Silence had changed its meaning. It wasn't hiding anymore, it was resting. One afternoon, I received a message from a distant relative. "I didn't know," it said. "If I had, I deleted it. Not out of anger, out of clarity." People often claim ignorance when they sense consequence approaching. That evening, I sat by the window and watched the light fade. I thought about something my nephew had said once, years ago. "You're lucky," he had told me. "You don't need much." He had been right. I didn't need much. I needed my name. And now, I had it back. The trial never needed my anger. It needed my presence. I sat in the back of the courtroom, hands folded, listening as my name was spoken by people who had used it carelessly for years. Hearing it read correctly, slowly, felt like something being returned. I testified once. Only once. I didn't describe betrayal. I described dates, times, patterns. I watched as the judge leaned forward, not at the emotion, but at the consistency. When the verdict came, it was quiet. No gasp, no drama. Just a sentence placed where it belonged. My nephew never looked at me. That was fine. Some people can't face the mirrors they built. Afterward, I walked home alone. No reporters, no speeches. The street looked the same as it always had. Shops open, people passing, life continuing. That is how real endings happen. At home, I opened the drawer and removed the last thing inside. The notebook. The one where I had written names, dates, and small observations no one thought would matter. I closed it and put it away, not because I was done being careful. Because I no longer needed proof. I didn't take revenge. I didn't seek punishment. I reclaimed authorship. My name was no longer a tool. My silence was no longer an invitation. My age was no longer a weakness. That night, I slept without listening for the phone, without counting days, without preparing answers. In the morning, I made tea and opened the window. The air was clear. People ask me now if I regret not stopping him sooner. I tell them this. I didn't wait too long. I waited until the truth could stand on its own. And that is what I chose to keep. My name, my timing, my voice.